Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? Let's see here. Wow, it is so early. So happy to be here with you. I am Melissa. I am the owner of Advanced Accounting, and I am here this morning to talk money with you and tax season 2019. I'm trying to make sure I can see your comments. Okay, so good morning. All right, so are you a small business owner? If you are a small business owner, then welcome, because as a small business owner, your tax season starts in January, depending on the type of small business you have, because there is so much preparation work to do for tax season 2019. So start with where you're from. I'd love to know where everyone's from. And if you're watching on a replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay and let me know where it is you're from, especially from here in the United States. I know that this is the last quarter of 2018 that we're coming into, and that's why I wanted to do this little series. So there's going to be 4 lives. And during these lives, I'm going to go through exactly what I'll be doing during the last quarter of 2018 to get all of my business clients ready for tax season 2019, so that I can just give their information very quickly over to their tax preparer, and it's all in order. We know we haven't missed any deductions and everything is good to go. So if you follow these same steps, you'll have everything ready for your tax preparer and for tax season. You won't be late on any government documents that you have to have filed, and it'll be a much less stressful tax season for you. Everybody has a little bit different type of small business, so everything I tell you during these 4 lives may not necessarily apply to your business. So there's going to be this live today, there's going to be another one on Friday, and then next week on Wednesday and Friday. If, let me get down to my little thing here. All right. If you are already my client and you are on here, okay, you don't need this class. So number 1, share it with a friend who does not know how to do the books, and then you can go back to work, because you don't need this. I do all of this for you. If you're using one of my do-it-yourself DIY accounting programs, then this first class will be a little bit repetitive for you, because the first 3 steps in any accounting process is the same all the time. I'm sorry, y'all. I have somebody else in my office with me this morning. So if there's a little noise in the background, that's all it is. You have to do the same 3 things all the time. So every time I do one of these, it's the same 3 steps. So if you've heard it before, know that the next 3 lives will all be brand new. I've never done a live on any of the ones that are coming up. It's entirely related to the new tax season, but these first 3 steps will be repetitive. So if you've done one of my classes already, know that. You can maybe, if you want to go do something else, you can this morning, share it with somebody, and then go on. All right, so now that I've said that, so that everyone here, we're all on the same page, we're going to be talking about how to get your small business ready for tax season 2019. Having it ready can really save you thousands of dollars, because if you go into a tax preparer or an accountant at the at the beginning of tax season, okay, and you take all of your paperwork to you, this is the possibly worst time you can take this to an accountant. We have so many deadlines, so many things going on, that you're going to pay a lot more to have us do it. We would love to just do it right now. We want to get it ready while we're getting our accounts ready and everything good to go, so that in January, we're in high, tax mentality. The other thing is there's a possibility that you won't account for all your deductions if you don't review your books ahead of time. So now you're missing income that you could not pay taxes on, or deductions. All right. All right. So this is our 4th quarter. So what I do in my 4th quarter of any year is I sit down and I go through my accounts and I make sure that I'm filling in all of the little details that I'm going to need for the first of the year. So I'd love to know what kind of business you have. If you let me know, then I'll be able to kind of gear some of this towards whatever business you have. Make sure you have the information that you need. So we want to get everything organized. And in small business, there's like 1099s, W-2s that have to be out. And this starts earlier in the year. So a lot of you individually think of the April deadline. But as a business, you have other deadlines between January and April that you have to think of, that you have to get ready for a person that's doing it for you, or if you're doing it yourself. So for instance, if you have employees, you're going to have to get W-2s ready. If you ever have subcontractors, you're going to have to get 1099s ready. I like to go through and make sure all my payroll taxes, everything is up to date and ready to file all of my state and federal tax forms. So these are things we're going to kind of go over. Get out of here. All right. So the first thing that you need to do in order to start this process, all right, is put all your receipts in one place. Now, I kind of want to go over what exactly receipts are, all right? So you don't just want cash receipts, but those are really important. Make sure you have all of your cash receipts. Bank statements. A lot of times we go through bank statements. Let me make sure I'm showing this. Yeah, okay. A lot of times we have bank statements that we use in order to record all expenses. But a lot of times we also spend cash, and we don't want to forget about all that cash and leave it out there unaccounted for, so that you have to pay income tax on that money. So go ahead and let's make sure you've got all your cash receipts together, all of your bank statements together. If you've been keeping it in a program, then yay for you. That's wonderful. And you're probably a step ahead. But no, most of the small business owners that I meet are not a step ahead, unfortunately. We're all pretty much, a lot of us just overwhelmed with running the business. So now we're really at the very beginning of this. We have a whole year's worth of receipts to go through. So let's get them all together. A lot of times we like to keep electronic data. For instance, I keep everything electronic. I don't use a lot of paper filing, so that I'm able to keep a very small space. I just have my one little filing cabinet behind me, and that's all I need. If you're this person, fantastic. I mean, I think that's great that you keep electronic data. Electronic data still all needs to be kept in one place. All right. So same thing. What I recommend is you go through, download all your credit card statements. Don't forget credit card statements. Go through. If you have personal and business mixed in on credit card and bank statements, I recommend going through, highlighting your business expenses, all right, and then scanning that back in and keeping that documentation in the business one, so you don't have to go back through it. If you're using a software or Excel system in order to keep your expenses, great. When you transfer those over from the credit card statement, you'll now have documentation you can easily find to back up these expenses. Also a great place to make little notes on them if you remember what those expenses were for on things that aren't really obvious. Cell phone bills, also a big one. You want to go ahead and download them. Now, all these cash receipts, some you'll have to write down. If you pay rent, if you don't use a check, if you're somebody who pays cash for your rent, or maybe you're claiming some of your home because you have a home business, then make sure you're writing those down, okay, as you think of them, because you're not going to remember on tax day to tell your tax preparer every single one, all right? So you want to go ahead and write those down. Then you want to put all this in one place. If you have it all in a file cabinet, I don't care if you have it in a box, a bin, a bag, whatever works for you. If you're going to keep them all electronically, then go ahead, get all those receipts together and get them scanned into one file. I recommend keeping it in a very, very safe database online, whatever you feel like that would be. My clients, I like to attach that documentation to their QuickBooks. So that's another thing you can do. You might be using QuickBooks Self-Employed or one of these other programs. A lot of times they'll have the ability to attach those electronic documents directly to your accounting software. All right. Very organized, very neat, very accessible. That's a great option if you can do that. Once that's done, then the next thing is to sort it by month. Not sorted by the month you paid it, sorted by the month of the expense. So if you have a cell phone bill for January and you paid it in February, the bill should go in the January folder as an expense for January. Okay? If you're going by bank statements, then strictly bank statements, then you're just going to have to account for them in the month you paid them. But ideally, if you have actual receipts for the expenses, you could actually do them within the month you incurred the expense. That has nothing to do with tax season necessarily, but more as we move forward and your business grows, you'll be able to see the numbers more accurately. So while you're doing this, why not do it so that these numbers are useful in the future? So month of the service, not the month it got paid. Now, the last thing that we're going to do in this very beginning part, and I kept it really simple for a reason. So the third thing that you want to do is, oh no, excuse me, hold on, y'all. Okay. Number 3 is I want you to download the top 10 tax deductions. All right. It's on my website. I'm also going to give you the link down in the comments. And the reason for this is because this is kind of my guide. So in order to make sure that you don't miss any deductions, all right, there's a top 10, you know, pretty much any business is going to have these expenses, whether you're a brick and mortar business, if you're a home-based business, a virtual business, doesn't matter. Most of us are going to have all these top 10 expenses, and it's a good way for you to start, all right? So you're going to download that. You're going to get all of this in one place. Now, we're going to go ahead, and because you sorted it all by month, what I want you to do now is look at those expenses that you have within that month. And I want to make sure you have a cell phone bill for every single month that you were in business. So of course, if you started in June, you're only going to have 7 months worth. But I want you to have a cell phone bill for every single month you were open. You should have a rent bill for every single month you were open. You should have standard utility bills. If you have a brick and mortar, you should have standard bills every single month. So make sure those are accounted for. Those are expenses that you don't want to miss. They're tax deductible, 100% for some of them. So go through those months right now and make sure that everything is there. I actually make a little list of what I know is reoccurring for an account. All right, if you use one of my other DIY, you might be using the accounts payable file, the accounts payable chart. Great, go back through there and make sure that you have accounted for all those reoccurring transactions every single month in 2018. I realize that we still have 3 months to go in 2018. Trust me, if all you have left to check is 3 months when we get to January, you will be so far ahead of the curveball, okay? So get all your receipts, all of your bills, all of your income, everything in one place, wherever that may be, either virtually or hard copy on paper, whatever works for you and your system. Number 2, sort it all by month. Then make sure that all of your reoccurring expenses are accounted for in each month, right? And 3, then go download my top 10 tax deductions, and I want you to make sure that all of those deductions are accounted for in your expenses, all right? I had another one that I just thought of I wanted to tell you guys, and I don't want to miss it. Make a list of these reoccurring transactions if you are not already working with one, so that you can check off and make sure that every month you were open, those transactions are accounted for, okay? If you need any help, please feel free to message me. If a deduction you're curious about whether or not it's actually you can take it, give me a message. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Friday, I'll be back here at 7 a.m. and we're going to go into depth on how to make sure all your payroll taxes are up. You're ready for W-2s. What you need to do to get ready if you've used subcontractors throughout the year to make sure you can file 1099s. Always like to do this the first month of the first quarter. I'm going to give you all the forms. I'm going to give you the letters I use to send to vendors, everything you need to get ready for 1099. So that's going to be Friday. I want to make this as easy as possible. If you write all this down, get a notepad, get your whatever you like to take notes on, electronic or paper, and get ready. If you, during the next quarter, plan this out and get all of these tasks done, you will be ready for tax season 2019, and you will have no stress. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put my tax deductions in the comments. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. And it's free, y'all. Okay. So just go on there, get it. Let's start sorting. Let's start getting organized, or at least planning it for the first month of the next quarter when you want to start these first 3 steps. All right. Because the reason I only did these 3 is because this can be the hardest part, gathering all the information. Sorting it would seem like the hardest part, but it's really not. It's making sure that we have everything from everywhere. Hey, good morning, Cassie. So I'm going to get you guys all ready. Join me back. Like I said, this is a 4-part series, and I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm a small business owner myself, so I do this every single year for every single client that I have. This is so simple and so easy when you're on top of it. I hope you guys have a profitable and beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you again Friday morning. Bye-bye.